All right, welcome to the Big Time Boiler Show. I'm your host, Grant. Kind of doing something unusual tonight. I've been on a couple podcasts, so I figured, why not jump on real quick? At the very least, I can create a quick synopsis coming up here on the Iowa game. Big game in front of us. You know, if people are actually up this late and want to jump on and want to join in on the calls, feel free to jump in on the stream. Again, if you've not joined the show before, in the comments, there's a link. You can join via the your webcam on your laptop, or even I think your webcam or your video camera on your phone, or you can just use the phone or webcam to talk, and no video need to be shown. So, don't know who's actually on here. If anybody is going to show up. Geez, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tired probably here. I'm talking too much, but if you want to talk about Purdue basketball, feel free. Full disclosure, I did not watch all of the game tonight. I decided not to pay for Big Ten Plus. I did catch some, though, on Twitter. Somebody was thankfully streaming the game. We played against a D2 opponent in Truman State. I don't know if there's much really to take from it, but it looked like the second unit played very well. Jenkins and first, and man, Trey Kaufman looked really good. Didn't really watch the starters as much. I saw that they did not have very good box scores when it comes to Braden Smith, and Fletcher Lawyer. But again, it's an exhibition game against a D2 opponent. You can't really take much from it. But if anybody wants to discuss basketball, feel free to jump on. We can talk about that. Otherwise, what I'm going to do, I think tonight. Again, it's late. I'm in Chicago, so it's not terrible for me. It's 10 o'clock. I might just kind of give some quick thoughts on the Iowa-Purdue game coming up. If somebody joins in, great. If nobody does, it's all good. And feel free, again, if you're just lurking around, add some comments of what you want me to discuss. So with that, obviously a big game this weekend. Hopefully some decent weather, but right now it looks like it's going to rain, which, this is Purdue. We always have one monsoon game. So hopefully that's not this Saturday. I think, though, I heard that maybe it's going to be a rainy morning and it's going to clear up by the afternoon. So hopefully that's the case, because I think if there is a bit of a windy, rainy weather, the advantage would have to go to Iowa there. But keys to this game, I've talked now to a couple of Iowa guys and Big Ten guys. Obviously, I think they know that Iowa is, well, not just they, everybody and their mother knows that Iowa is a terrible offensive football team. Yes, they had a decent, they had a pretty good game last week against Northwestern. Northwestern, however, is terrible. They've left their basically entire team in Ireland. They've not won a game since they've come back to U.S. soil. I don't know how much we can, they put 33 points up, but, what does that say really about them? Not much. I mean, I think it says, though, that Petrus, he does have a game or two in him. He's a D1 quarterback. Granted, he's not very good. He's not very accurate, but he can have a decent game from here and there. So if Purdue doesn't get pressure on Petrus, by all means, Petrus might have a pretty decent game. If he has a clean pocket, and Purdue's secondary obviously is very beat up. Some issues going on there. I mean, obviously Jefferson is not apparently not going to return from reports. I think it's all kind of up in the air still, but it sounds like he's not coming back. So it's kind of, we're stuck with who we got. I mean, you got Kane back there. You got Cam Allen, who's been struggling mightily, and that might be an understatement. Trice and Brown have been hurt, or just got hurt, I should say. Their question or their availability for Saturday is in question. What else am I missing? I said Jefferson's out. And then the backup to Trice and Brown, besides Reese Taylor, is man, I'm starting to blank on everything here. I apologize. Oh, good gracious. Anyway, the third cornerback, or I should say the fourth cornerback outside of Reese Taylor, he is hurt. Is Brandon Callaway. Brandon Callaway is apparently in a boot. So he got it hurt a few weeks ago. So we actually had a backup, a walk-on wide receiver, Childress, I think his name is, that nobody knew much about. I think he's from Florida, maybe. He actually maybe even went to IMG and he walked on, but he actually got converted to cornerback like a few weeks ago, and he was actually back there. So the state of the DBs are not good. Linebackers have not been all that great either. They've had some injury issues there. This bye week came out at a perfect time. Let's just say that. This bye week was much needed. I think this team was banged up, very much so. Charlie Jones has not been practicing for weeks. Aiden O'Connell, I think, was probably still somewhat limited just based off of, it being a rib injury. Now, luckily, it's been, 5 weeks, I think. I think that timeline's right. So 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. He should be hopefully close to 100%. Expect this team health-wise to be a little bit better. But, man, this is football. What happens in football? A lot of injuries. Guys are never, 100% this time of year. So you got to fight through it. This is a huge game. But when I say that, but record-wise and Big Ten West goal-wise, technically, I guess it's not a huge. I mean, it's a big game, but Purdue could lose this game, beat Illinois, and still be in the driver's seat for the simple fact that they beat Illinois. They would have 3 Big Ten losses with an Iowa loss, and then Illinois with the Purdue loss would have 2, and then presumably they would lose to Michigan at Michigan. If that happens, Purdue would be there. I think, though, I'm trying to think if Wisconsin has now lost 4. They've only lost 3 because Wisconsin could, I think it is 3. Wisconsin, they could make a run. We'll see. Now, if that does happen, that means I don't know how that would work, actually. I assume Illinois, if that happened, if Illinois and Purdue and Wisconsin all had 3 losses and Purdue beat Illinois, but then Illinois beat Wisconsin. So I'm not sure exactly how that would work, actually, now that I think about that. Anyway, big game Saturday against Iowa. I think for me, this is like a show me game. Can Purdue come out strong? Can they get a lead? I mean, this is a team against Iowa you do not want to go down early against, especially that defense. This defense is legit. This is a team that you want, quite frankly, you want to play like you have the last couple of years, where you get a little bit of a lead, force them to throw the football, which Petrus is not good at, which they're not very good at running the ball this year either, though. So I think the key factor this year is let's limit mistakes. Aiden's got to be very sharp with the ball. We don't have the burners to go really take the top off Iowa like we normally do. I mean, Charlie Jones might be able to a little bit, but we don't have a Terry Wright. We don't have, dare I say, Anthony Mahungo even, or even Milton Wright to go, down, streaking down the field and beating Iowa's DBs late. So we're going to have to make some adjustments. And luckily, I think with the running game improved, maybe, that's where we adjust. But, Brahms had their number. Let's hope it continues. But if Purdue comes out flat, this is my fear. And again, I'm not going to make this terribly long, especially if nobody jumps on, which is all good. Again, it's 11:10 Eastern time. I didn't really want to go longer than that anyway. But again, if you're here, if anybody's here, anybody wants to jump on, any comments, again, if you want to come on and talk, feel free. If not, all good. So we'll keep it short tonight. But if this is kind of my worst case scenario. It's a bad rainy game. Purdue comes out flat, which they usually don't do off a bye week. Give them that. They come out flat. They just don't look good. They lose. My fear is it's going to fall apart at that point for the rest of the season. I could see us then. It sounds like there's somewhat, and this could be overplaying it, there might be some drama here and there in the locker room. Maybe not. You never know. But some of the stuff I'm hearing is not, and I'm not hearing, a bunch of details, but from what, bits and pieces that I'm hearing is there could be some concern, mainly in the secondary. But, if we lose to Iowa, I just, and then we lose to Illinois, this once promising season would be a very disappointing. Again, this for me, and probably most of you guys, this is a must win, or not must win, a must get to Indy year. We got to get to Indy. If we don't get to Indy this year, it might not happen a long, long time, especially, it's funny. Big Ten Ted in the house. I was on his show earlier tonight. I think we talked about this very same thing. If Purdue doesn't get to Indy this year, it might be a while, and not just Purdue, even Wisconsin or in Illinois. It might take us quite some time. You're going to have UCLA, Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State, the big boys. If there's no divisions, it's going to be a battle to get to even get to second place and get to that championship game. So that, Ted, I appreciate you stopping by. I said I was on Ted's show earlier. If you are not subscribed to Big Ten Ted, go check out his channel. He is actually one of the first guys that I found on YouTube. I don't even remember when it was, a year or two ago. I started watching and then kind of decided, maybe I should do this from Purdue side. Although, again, Boiled Sports does a great job, and check those guys out, including Boiler Breakdown. They also do a good job. And I'm forgetting their podcast. I think the Boiler Express, I apologize if I screwed that up, but Ultimate Boiler has been on here a couple times. He does that podcast as well. So again, if anybody would like to join the show, the StreamYard link is in the comments section. Feel free to jump on if you don't want to. All good. Again, you don't have to show your face either. If you just want to talk, you can talk. Or if you want to leave a comment and you want something specifically discussed, feel free to do that too. Again, Purdue won tonight in basketball against the almighty, is it Truman State? D2 school. I'm not even sure where Truman State is, but Purdue wins 102-57. Again, I saw probably half the game. Obviously, this game was out of without question after like the first 10 minutes, which I actually missed the first 10 minutes I saw on the radio, but it sounded like Zach Edey was dominant. 23 points, 8 of 9, played only 16 minutes. It's going to be interesting to see how many minutes Zach Edey actually averages this year. And actually, I can't even remember how many minutes he averaged as a whole last year. I feel like it was 20, somewhere around there. But I'm assuming we want him to be up to 25 to 30. But again, Braden Smith is getting a lot of praise. He actually went to Westfield. That's where I went to high school. He got an 0 for tonight, 0 points, but he had 6 rebounds and 3 assists, only in 2 turnovers, 1 steal. Played 26 minutes. Fletcher Lawyer only had 3 points. 1 of 5, kind of struggled shooting, but this is an exhibition game. Let the guys get their feet wet. Sound like though, from what I saw, Trey Kaufman-Renn and actually the whole second unit looked great. That Brandon Newman, Kaufman-Renn, Caleb First, and David Jenkins lineup was smoking tonight. That could be a fun lineup to watch going forward. So looking forward to that. But again, this Iowa game, concerning a little bit. Again, it just seems like this Purdue season has been so up and down. We've not been able to blow anybody out, sans Indiana State. Seems like defenses are just kind of keeping everything in front of them, making it harder for us to score. The big play, you think about it, the big play really hasn't been there a whole lot this year. There's been a few big throws at Payne Durham on good play designs. But the deep ball in itself has not really been there. We've only thrown a few deep balls, and the last couple we've thrown have been picked off. Charlie Jones, outside of the Syracuse game, I think he obviously had that big long touchdown against Syracuse. I think he had a big one too. It was kind of a shorter. It wasn't quite a deep ball, but it was kind of a medium ball, if you will, the other day, or other weekend, excuse me. But really, the deep ball has not been there this year, and that's kind of what you look back in this Iowa matchup against Jeff, with Jeff Brom against Kirk. We've been able to take the top off them with Terry Wright, Anthony Mahungu, David Bell, Milton Wright. Those guys aren't there, obviously. It would be great to have Milton Wright back, but we don't. We're going to miss his speed against Iowa. It's the Charlie Jones, so really, and hopefully, Yassine will be healed up a little bit and able to make more of an impact. Brock Thompson sounds like he's going to try to get back for this game, but I'm not sure if he is going to make it or not. Need some guys to step up. Sheffield, to me, has been the number 2 wide receiver. Rice is still looking pretty improving every game. I think he could be a contributing factor here, but need a heavy dose of Maccabee in the backfield, Payne Durham, Sheffield, Jones, and Wright. And then, Rice, excuse me. And then I think, again, I said this now on I think multiple shows tonight, I think Tyrone Tracy could be the X factor in this game. I think he's going to be actually the one more fired up about this matchup than Charlie Jones. And I would not be surprised to see Tyrone Tracy have a big game against Iowa. Do I want to make a prediction? I mean, when I say big game, maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 catches for 70 yards. I think he has a big play, and he gets his first touchdown this season. Hey, we got our comment on the show, John. Will the expanded playoffs be a good thing for Big Ten in football? We will see 2 to 3 Big Ten schools making it in. Yeah, I think so, John. I mean, especially with the UCLA and USC coming in. Not that UCLA will be a playoff contender, but who knows? They might. I mean, but you got Ohio State, you got Michigan, Penn State, UCLA, or not, I keep saying UCLA, USC, excuse me. That's 4 blue blood type programs right there that you would think would be pretty solid every year, much like they are now. They've all had their, issues here and there, but I think it's going to be good. But obviously there's some SEC bias that will always be there. I think you saw that with the playoff, the playoff rankings that came out the other day, especially with LSU at 10. I don't get that, but there were some question marks there, but I think the extended playoffs is good. I think, I think the bigger question is, and I talked about this on Ted brought it up on his show, is what is the Big Ten going to do going forward? Are we going to see kind of divisions? Are we going to see pods? I kind of messed this up when I was talking to him. I think they will eventually do pods. I was thinking they needed to add 2 more teams, but I guess I was misthinking that they could do pods right now. They could have 4 pods of 4. What I was thinking of is, they need 2 more teams out west to make it, I'm just throwing teams out there, but like an Oregon and a Washington. If Oregon and Washington came over, that could be a pod right there. Would be, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington. That would make sense. But with only 16 teams and, most likely, I don't think any other teams will be added, at least for 2025. I could be wrong. Maybe they will. But, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Will they do, divisions again and just separate them, or are they just going to have a free-for-all? We'll see. And then you're going to have to figure out, the scheduling. That's going to be a nightmare too. So it sounds like, I think last I saw, I think maybe every team will have like 3 protected rivals. So Purdue should have, or maybe it's just 2, but no, it was 3. I think they had Purdue having UCLA as 1, IU as 1, obviously, and Illinois is the other one. So we'll see. Appreciate the comment, John, and you tuning in. Again, anybody just joining in here, if you want to jump on the show, there's a link in the comment section. I'll just post it right now. For some reason, it's gone too. You enter a studio, basically. You can be on camera if you want. If you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to be. You can actually, I believe, use your cell phone if you want and just talk into it like it's a telephone, like a cell phone call. We can just hear your voice if you don't want to show your face. So feel free to do that. And if you want to sit back and just watch, feel free to do that and drop some questions in the comment section if you want. Otherwise, again, we probably will not go too long with this. It is late on the East Coast. I'm in Central right now, though. It's 10:20 my time, but 11:20 Purdue time. But yeah, curious. We'll see. We'll see how much Purdue. I kind of like what I heard from Ron English today. He kind of said, it doesn't really matter what we've done so far, and it's true. It's kind of a whole. This bye week. This is kind of part 2 of the season. We're kind of, you want to call ours 0-0, and we just need, if we win, got a mouthful here. If Purdue wins the next 4 games, no matter what happens with anybody else, Purdue will go to Indianapolis. And that's the bottom line. Purdue wins the next 4 games, they're going to Indy, no matter what. So you kind of got to look at that way. This is a whole new season. Ron was saying, it doesn't matter what happened before this. It's kind of a restart for that defense, especially that secondary. It's, show me what you got now. Don't worry about the past. Let's get everything cleared up and let's go out there and take care of business. And I think this Iowa game, again, this game to me is going to show us just how much Purdue has learned over the bye week, how much they've gotten, how much more healthy they've gotten, if they've gotten healthier, and what kind of team they really are. It's been a very up and down year. I mean, we're 5-3. We're exactly actually where I thought we'd be as far as overall record. I said 5-3, and I said we'd win the next 4. But we're actually better than I said, because I said we'd be 5-3 with 3 Big Ten losses. We only have 2 Big Ten losses, and that's a much better place to be in. But we need to beat Iowa, I think. If we don't beat Iowa, we're not going to beat Illinois. That's my opinion. We got 2 very, very similar defenses kind of we're going against here the next 2 weeks. So I think this Iowa game is going to be a big test. It's going to be a show-me game, at least for me, and probably a lot of our fans, to see if we're a legit Big Ten West title contender. John chiming in with another comment. Could it also lead to eliminating Power 5 conferences with a group of 5 schools having a greater chance of getting in, and the rise of NIL deals to those group of 5 schools? It could. I mean, John, I think one thing, I guess we don't really know until it happens. College sports, I was going to say college football, but college sports in general right now, mainly though college football, are kind of at a weird place. In fact, I saw today where Gonzaga is talking about joining the Big 12. I'm assuming, and if somebody knows this and wants to chime in, there's only a few of you guys watching, but assuming that's basketball only, or maybe I shouldn't say basketball only. That's obviously for basketball mainly, but I don't think Gonzaga has a football school. Maybe they do, and I'm missing that, but I've never heard of Gonzaga football. I don't even think they're NC. I was gonna say NCIS, D1A or whatever. I don't even think they're that. So you know what? We got the power of the internet right here. Let's actually look it up. Gonzaga football. They do not. It doesn't look like. Unless I am completely. Yeah, all right, they don't. Doesn't look like they have a football team. Unless I'm completely misreading that. So I don't know if that means we're going to get a. Yep, no football, Big Ten Ted. It would be like Wichita State in the American. Interesting. Has that been said, though, Ted? I mean, maybe are they going to go Coastal Carolina and just make a football team out of nowhere and all of a sudden become D1? But yeah, last they played was in 1941. I was looking at that. I'm like, oh, they're 0-1 in bowls. Hey, they got a winning record, all-time record of 134 wins and 99 ties. Jeez. That can't be right. Oh, okay, maybe 99 losses, 20 ties. Interesting. I guess the stadium's still there. But yeah, a lot of movement. With college sports, and they're still talking about increasing the field for the NCAA tournament in basketball. So who knows? I think college sports in the next 2 to 5 years are going to be vastly different. Vastly different. Well, again, I didn't want to go too late tonight. If somebody wants to jump on, feel free. Appreciate John and Ted being in here, doing the comments. Gonzaga and Kansas twice a year on the court. Sign me up. Yeah, that'd be great for basketball. Be great for basketball. Ted, one thing I forgot to mention, I guess I didn't forget it. I didn't bring it up. We're talking about Big Ten basketball. It kind of reminds me of the Big Ten West, where it's really anybody's game, and it's going to be pretty crazy. I'm not sure. There's a few favorites, but we'll see if they actually play up to their potential. Yeah, we'll see if they play up to their potential. But I saw there was a article with the top 25 Big Ten basketball players, for the 22-23 season, and like they were ranking them, top 20. And you looked at that. You looked at that time. I think we discussed this on this podcast a few weeks ago. But when you looked at that list, it was pretty. I don't want to say it was bad, but like in a normal Big Ten year, I mean, I think the top 5 are pretty good. But like outside of the top 5, a lot of those guys that were ranked 5 to 20th in a normal type year would be like 30 to 40th or somewhere around there. They're like they're twice as high as they normally are. So I think the talent, and they could be better players. A lot of freshmen. Maybe there's a lot of talent here we just don't know about. But a lot of talent, as you allude to in your show today, left, graduated or left, or what have you, transferred out. Who knows these days? But anyway, Big Ten West talk real quick. I like to do this. Illinois' remaining. Actually, no. What's Wisconsin? Ted, we also talked about this on your show. I think Wisconsin's lost 3 Big Ten games. Is that right? Let's see. Michigan State they lost. Illinois they lost. Ohio State they lost. Yeah, they're 3. I don't know if you guys heard me about this earlier, but if Purdue beats Illinois but loses to Iowa or somebody else, and Purdue gets down to 3 losses, but beats Illinois, loses to Purdue and then loses to Michigan, that's 3 losses, and then Wisconsin wins out. Purdue beat Illinois, but Illinois beat Wisconsin, but Wisconsin beat Purdue. How do they? Who goes to the Big Ten championship game in that scenario? Or what's the tiebreaker, I guess? Because you got 3 teams with 3 losses. Again, Illinois would have gotten beat by Purdue, so that puts Purdue ahead of Illinois. But Wisconsin beat Purdue, but then Illinois also beat Wisconsin. So it's maybe I'm overthinking that. But I think since it's a 3-way tie, that Wisconsin would not automatically get in because they beat Purdue. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe they would. Maybe that's the tiebreaker in itself. But to me, that doesn't make sense. Okay. I believe it's division record. Well, if it's division record, then Wisconsin would go or maybe Illinois would go. No, it would be Wisconsin because Wisconsin's lost to Michigan State and Ohio State. Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that. But I mean, there's a chance. Wisconsin plays big game this week in Maryland. I think they'll beat Maryland. They play at Iowa. Who knows? They play at Nebraska. Nebraska not having Thompson, which I said his name right this time. I said Martinez on Ted's show, but if Thompson sounds like, I forgot to ask you, Ted, assuming he's out for the year. Without him, I think Nebraska's done. And then the final game against Minnesota at home. I mean, Wisconsin could win out. So Purdue really can only afford to lose. Well, to no one, actually. Purdue needs to win out, basically, to go to the Big Ten championship game. Purdue needs to win out to go to the Big Ten championship game. Gosh, earbuds keep falling out, and I hit it, and somebody keeps talking to my ear. But again, if you guys are just joining the show, I see a few new people jumping on here, and you want to join the stream, the link is in the description. Feel free. Come on. We can talk Purdue basketball or Purdue football. Or feel free to comment if you like. Again, I think on this channel so far this year, we really haven't focused too much on basketball. And quite honestly, I've been not, I don't want to say, how do I say this? I've not been super excited for the season. I've been looking forward to it a little bit, but I'm, mainly focused solely on football right now. I think I was just so hurt or hurt's not the right word, disappointed in how last year went. Just the whole year wasn't really fun. We got to that number 1 ranking, which was fun, but you could just tell there were some deficiencies in this team. They didn't have a very good point guard. no point guard. There were some issues that you just saw coming, and then it just kind of, I don't know, it became frustrating because I think, at least my perspective, I kind of saw. And then like the Red Sea opened up in the tournament. We had St. Peter's coming up, a team that we should beat, and Purdue did a Purdue thing and lost when they should have won. So that left a very, very, very bad taste in my mouth. I've been more about a wait and see for basketball this year, which, looking at the roster, they look like they're pretty deep. It's a young team, but a very a team. They're going to pass the ball. The ball's not going to stick. It's going to be a fun team to watch, I think. They're going to have their ups and downs, but I think it's going to be an NCAA tournament team and could be a surprise team, just like Painter always does. And I think Zach Edey's going to have some monster year, or monster numbers this year. By the way, I did see that replay. Zach Edey had a block today on a poor 6-foot guard trying to shoot a 3-pointer. Welcome to the D1 basketball, Mr. D2. But I think Zach's in it like 10 rows up into the stands. My score prediction for this Iowa game is, I think, again, weather permitting, I think Purdue does come out sharp on offense, at least. Aiden. I don't think Aiden's played 2 bad games in a row. I think Aiden gets it together. I think Maccabee has a good day. I think Purdue probably wins like 24-10. I said 24-10 on a whim on Ted's show, but I think 24-13 maybe is more what it might be. Again, this is a very important game for Purdue. If Purdue loses this, I don't see us winning the West, and honestly, the season might fall on its face, which would be an absolute disappointment. Because, Ted, another thing we didn't talk about, and I hate to even bring this up, and no one's really asked me about it, and outside of the Purdue and Louisville fan bases, maybe it's not known a whole lot, but there's a lot of rumors that, Jeff Brom may not be the coach here next year. Assuming that's tied into Louisville, but if Scott Satterfield still keeps winning, I don't know how that's going to go down, but I really don't want to cover that too much. I think I've said it before on this show. If Jeff Brom's done his thing for Purdue. He's got us out of the dark ages. He's cleaned up the Darrell Hazel mess. If he decides to move on, I think we'll be able to attract a decent coach. Hopefully, he'll be another offensive innovator. And with the transfer portal, I think that will also help. Hopefully we don't lose too much, but that is a discussion for a different day. It may not happen even, who knows, but that's why also, you'd like to see Jeff, be able to get to Indy and, if this is his last season, go out with a bang. Him winning the Big Ten West and then leaving would be kind of, especially for Louisville, I think would be, I don't know, disheartening if you will. But like I said, he's done his job here. He's got us out of the dark ages, and it's much appreciated. But and I will say, thankfully, Louisville has started winning some games where that distraction of the Jeff Brom to Louisville noise has not really hit the masses like maybe it would have if Louisville kept on losing. There was some serious talk that they were going to fire Scott Satterfield, and he's won, I think, 2 in a row. So anyway, with that, guys, this might be the last call. Again, 10:30 Central Time. If anybody would like to jump on and discuss anything related to Purdue sports, basketball or football, feel free. Again, this is very, very late tonight. Did not really plan this. Was on with Ted earlier and then Corey later. Figured, I hadn't done a show this week, and why not just get it out of the way now? So, but pretty late. So anyway, with that, I might wrap it up. Going once, going twice. Again, I think Purdue gets it done this weekend, and I think with that, it's going to be a huge game against Illinois. I thought Illinois might have a hard time with Michigan State. That was pre-tunnel fight. With that tunnel fight now having cost Michigan State 4 starters, 8 total players, we'll kind of see where their focus is at. Maybe they'll come out, hyper-focused, and Mel Tucker will have those guys ready to play, and maybe they'll beat Illinois. Still, I think Illinois has not – and I don't know if I said this either on Ted's show earlier, but it's like Illinois, I just don't know if they've been fully tested yet. Again, that Nebraska game, I think, would have been a really good game and a really good test, but they knocked out Thompson. And now getting this Michigan State game. I thought Michigan State's got a pretty good offense. I thought that was going to be a very good test. Now here Michigan State has 8 suspended players. So we'll see. I mean, you only can play who's on your schedule and who's available. So you can't blame Illinois for that. But, this Purdue-Illinois game should be very, very intriguing. And it could, I heard there's even talk about College Game Day maybe being there. We'll see if that happens. But I think, if Illinois does win, they'll be 8-1? Is that right? 8-1 and probably a top 10 team. And if Purdue wins, they'll be 6-3. So that's a pretty good matchup. Again, pretty much for the Big Ten West. Wow. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Again, just wanted to get this one out of the way and see if anybody wanted to jump on. And it's pretty late, so not surprising. Not many did. So with that, we'll talk to you later. Boiler up.